Yo, 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 what's good? What's good? Sip Strength. But you are not watching Boy Sports Show. I am your host, King Ralph, and I'm feeling good. It's been a good day. Got my Christmas PJs on. Just went and looked at the Christmas lights over here at the M Casino. $40. I thought at first was like a little steep, but after seeing the quality of the lights, the light show that they did that correlated with the music, I feel like it was worth it. Much more worth it than the glittering lights going up in price. But the show has been brought to you by Fitboxer. If you want to do any podcasts like what you're watching, music videos, photo shoots, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. Make sure you go and like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff on our socials. The He Say, She Say channel on Facebook, J.U.K Media on YouTube, as well as J.U.K Sports Show at J.U.K Sports Show on Instagram. And the ticker's going to be at the bottom. Just make sure you go like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff for us. And I'm starting off today with my NBA power rankings. Every 2-3 weeks, I'm going to start doing an NBA one. I've already done a couple times. I've already done the NFL one. I did one last week. And oh snap, the homie Marv just popped in. What's popping, my boy?
What's going on, man?
Shoot, chilling, big chilling. Just diving into.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah. All right, let's make sure my mic works.
Cool. Yeah, just about to dive into this NBA power rankings.
Okay.
And every time I do a power ranking, I end up doing. I look and see like who do other publications have listed, and then I go and based off of what I've seen, the research that I've done, I come up with my own power rankings. So like this particular week, I looked at NBA's and I was just like, I just completely disagree with a lot of what they. I don't know. I feel like there's too much. Like I think there's this conversation of what a team has done and versus like where they are today. I feel like when you're doing a power ranking, regardless of what product is on the floor, you got to look at how a team is playing currently.
Right.
Because for me, from what I've seen the Magic get some tough victories. But then when you look at their power ranking, they're at number 8. And it's like you're 16-7 coming off of you're 8-2 in the last 10 games. And then you have a team that's like 15 or 14-9 ranked above them. That's coming off of like just a simple, they won their last game and they lost the game before that. Like I just don't see where you can get that start to have that power rank. I feel like a lot of people's power rankings end up having a whole lot of bias behind it. But to start it off, I got the Mavericks in at 10, 14-8 currently. They're third in the West right now, fourth in offensive rating, 8th in pace. I think when you have that much talent in ball handling and shooters, you got to be able to, I think, to compensate for defense, because their only defensive rating is only at 22. I feel like in order for them to legitimately be a title contender, they got to get in that 12 to 18 range, which if you have that high powered of an offense, as long as your defense is not a liability, you should be able to make noise. And so I got the Mavericks in at 10. I got the Bucks, although I do think that the Bucks in the end will end up being, if not top 2, top 3 in the East. How they're playing currently, until they can figure out them issues on defense, they're right around that same mode. Actually, it's the Bucks that are 22nd in defensive rating, and then it's the Mavericks who are the 23rd in defensive rating. But they're literally 3 and 4 on offensive rating. So a little bit of the same thing. They have a little bit more pace to them. coming in at fifth in the league. And when you got Dame and Giannis, I feel like you're gonna put yourself in a position. And any night you got a chance. At eight, I got the Pacers, who ultimately I probably would have had them a little higher had their record not been 13-8. But they are coming off of a 4-game win streak. They made noise in the in-season tournament, but that doesn't go towards your record. So that's one of the reasons why if it did count, they probably would have 2 or 3 more victories. But once you get to the tournament games, like the quarterfinals and all that, those games do not count towards your in-season stats.
Got it.
But number 1 in offensive rating, but they're almost toward the bottom. They're in the bottom 5 on defensive rating. Their net rating is 7th in the league, and they play with the most pace, 104.1 possessions per 100 possessions. And so I think that how they've been able to play lately is the reason why I got them in at 8. I didn't even have him on my list. The last time I did a power ranking, Tyrese Halliburton, what he's been able to do, as ugly as that jump shot is
hooping up.
It's butter if you can get it up there. Pause. And so in order for them to really be able to make noise, they're just going to be one of those teams that I think a lot of people are going to root for because they're the underdog, and they go out there, they play hard. They don't have any crazy superstars yet. Tyrese Halliburton is on his way there, but they just play really good basketball. I always say my boy Jim Carrey looking like Carlisle. I think it's Rick Carlisle. Is the coach over there. He coach him up, and every year, no matter what team he's on, regardless of the talent, you always see teams play well. They're in the playoffs and might even ruin a good team's day or a good team's night. On my next team, I got them I think that's the most motion. Yeah, it's because the last time I had them at 2, I got the Nuggets in at 7 with 15-9. I think they won tonight, so they're on a 2-game winning streak. But previous to today and beating the Bulls, they were just coming off of a 3-game losing streak. And so as much as I think that in the end they'll be in the Western Conference Finals right now, how they're playing, they're 15-9. Now today, including tonight's game, and typically I don't really talk about the game on that day, but including tonight's game, now they're on a 2-game win streak, but they lost 3 out of their last 5. So that's why I got them in at 7. Although they pretty much have top 10. They're in top 10 in offensive rating, 11 in defense, 8 on net rating, and they play with a slower pace because they play so much through J.U.K, but it works for them. And so I got the Lakers.
You got to play to your strengths ultimately at the end of the day.
Exactly. And so I got the Lakers in at 6. They were already on a 3-game win streak prior to winning the in-season tournament, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I just think the basketball that they're playing right now, regardless of record, they're 14-9, which isn't crazy. Like they're 22nd in offensive rating. They're top 10 in defense and middle of the pack in net rating. And they play at a decent pace. But I think that on any given night, if LeBron and AD are playing their best basketball, it's going to be hard no matter what the team is in order to beat them. And I think that their role players just got to find their groove because last year they were playing so well. They have quality role players to go along with those superstars. In the end, I do think that they're going to need to make a trade. I don't think they need to make a trade for like a Zach LaVine, but they need more shooters because that is their weakness right now. Is they're in the bottom. I think they're in the bottom 8 when it comes to 3-point shooting.
What puzzles me is this: we're in the year of our Lord, 2023. LeBron has been in the league for the better part of 2 decades now.
Facts.
and we don't know to surround this man with shooters.
Right. Right.
Like I don't get that. That I think that goes to that whole we're gonna show him who's boss. You know what I
Right.
mean? It's our team. We're gonna run it the way we see fit instead of
Right.
letting LeBron knows like, well, who knows what LeBron needs, and when he needs it better than him. You know what I mean? They call him Le GM for a reason. I mean, the man knows what he's doing. You know what I'm saying? But that that
Right. Right.
they know
Right.
better than I do, so that's why they make the big bucks.
Facts. Facts. And moving up from 6 on the last list, I got them moving up to 5. I got the 76ers. I feel like at the end of the day, and I seen this podcast where they were talking about Joel Embiid saying the 76ers are going to be good because he's here. But it's like when you watched him play, it's just whether or not can he stay healthy in the playoffs. Because if he's healthy, then it gives him the best shot. I feel like the offense that Nick Nurse is running currently is putting him in a position where he's much more of a playmaker, but he still is able to get his. Came back from, I think he missed 2 or 3 games in a row, came back and gave the Wizards 50. The other day I seen he had 30 going into the fourth and didn't even play the fourth quarter. Maxey, speed and bullet. I think that, what's my man? Dang, I can't think of their 4. Tobias Harris. Tobias Harris is fitting in well in that offense and finding his space. If he can stay anywhere from 15 to 20 points a game, and then you're getting 25, 30 from Embiid and 20 to 25 from Maxey, I feel like it's definitely going to put them in a position to be in that top 3. And then the emergence of Oubre, as well as having the leadership of Patrick Beverley and Nick Nurse's offense, I'm curious to see what happens. But I kind of put them in that same category with like the Ravens and the Cowboys, where I'm expecting you to do damage in the regular season. Show me what you can do in the playoffs. And so after that, I got the Thunder, who are right in the same spot. Didn't really have too much motion. I do think that they're going to be one of the better teams in the West. I can see them getting to a conference final, if not a semifinal. It just depends on, can those young players match Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, because he's going to bring it every night. Pause. And so I got the Magic at 3, coming off a 2-game winning streak, 8-2 in the last 10 games, 16-7. Number 2 in defense, which is surprising to me because I didn't expect them to go into the year. I expected them to put up points, but not play defense at the level that they're playing, which is why I think that they're having so much success right now. Paolo Banchero, that's my boy, doing this thing right now. Franz Wagner out there hooping. Cole Anthony. It's just, can they keep it up for the rest of the season is really because I actually picked them last year to be my sleeper, but it seems like they're a year away. At 2, I got the Celtics, 16-5, 17. I mean, they're 7-3 in the last 10 games. They're top 6 in net rating, defensive rating, and offensive rating. Playing at a slower pace, but they have the team that's set up for the playoff long run, and I think that them being able to score in the half court is going to be so clutch for them in the playoffs, which I think is one of the things that's Jason Tatum having to do so much, Jaylen Brown, and then you get Porzingis and Drew Holiday. And then at 1, I got the T-Wolves. That boy Anthony Edwards leading the pack. I think Mike Conley getting comfortable in his role as a facilitating point guard who can also play off ball next to Anthony Edwards. Karl Anthony Towns is emerging. I feel like he's a really good 2 instead of being the one on a championship team. I don't think he can do that. I feel like he could be a really good 2 to whoever that 1 is.
You talking about Cat?
Cat, yeah.
I would say, this is just me personally, and I might get some flack for this. I would say I would do you one better and I would say Cat is a very, very good 3. Anthony Edwards is a very good 2. He is a shot taker, not a necessarily a shot maker. He's not afraid of the moment. I need him to be a little more clutch in these moments because he, you know what I mean, he'll rise up, he'll get the shot, he'll, you know what I mean, he's not necessarily always wide open with it, but he does get his shot that he wants. I'm gonna need him to start knocking these down or make another play. You know what I mean? Figure it out another way because it's like I get it, you know what I mean? It's your team, but I feel like they're probably a couple seasons and a couple heartbreaks away from figuring out that he needs help. He needs a lot more help than they're willing to admit that he does.
I just think it depends on how the season goes. I think that he's definitely showed,
and he's one of my favorite players. So.
He's definitely showed an improvement from last year to this year, where I'm curious to see what happens because I trust him more this year to make that shot. Where last year I felt like he flamed out, like stamina and endurance wise. Like he played well, but then when it really counted toward end of games, his shot was flat, short, and I just don't think he had the legs to get through it. And so, to recap, before we switch topics here, I got Mavericks at 10. I got Bucks at 9, Pacers at 8, Nuggets at 7, Lakers at 6, Sixers at 5. Thunder at 4, Magic at 3, Celtics at 2, T-Wolves at 1. And then moving on, where I got it at. Ja Morant was seen in court defending himself in the civil suit, but he also was brought up in an in-season tournament interview during with Adam Silver, saying he needed to speak with him in order to be whether or not he's going to make a decision on him coming back once the eligibility is available. But on December 19th, he is scheduled to be, if he stays on time, he's scheduled to return on December 19th, which leads me to the question of, do you think they can make a run in the Western Conference? And I don't know. That team is so bad right now, and the way that they're playing, they're toward the bottom of the West. If there was no Ja for the rest of the season, they would probably be they might even go for the number 1 pick with how bad that the team is. The last time I watched them play, it seemed like they were playing a little bit better basketball, but at the same time, I just really wasn't feeling it. Watching it, they look like Jaren Jackson is not coming up doing exactly what he needs to get done. They definitely miss Ja, and I just don't see it, man. I don't know. I would hate to say it, but because I was a huge Dillon Brooks fan, but without Ja, without Dillon, and the way that JJJ is playing, I just don't see them being able to make a run in the West.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I feel like that run that they had, what was that, a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
I feel like that they played above their heads with that. You know what I mean? I feel like that was kind of like a circumstances season. Due to certain injuries, people, not playing up to where they to where they are, and then just come down to like matchups as well. And then they ended up having an above average season, a decent season, and then people have kind of predicated what they're going to be off of that 1 year and the fact that they have young up and coming talent. But at the end of the day, as we see with LeBron being old, until you prove it, it don't really mean anything. You know what I mean? It's just like you see it every year with the draft in every sport. You know what I mean? Potential. But then until you get out there and you actually do it, you know what I mean? You know how many people, well, not that they had the chance to, but You don't think I forget it's slipping my mind, but you don't think that they can wish they can go back and draft CJ Stroud #1 overall instead of
Right, right,
Bryce the Panthers? You don't think
right,
they
right,
want to go back and you know what I mean? So it's just like until you get out on that field or get out on that court and put it out on the line, and you know what I mean, we can the measurables and all that other stuff. I mean, it sounds good until you know what I mean. Everything's put into test.
facts, facts. Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think that they might have hit their ceiling with this group, or they need. We'll see what happens when Ja comes back, but I don't know. I just don't see him coming back and playing at a level that just completely changes the rate the rest of the team
When
plays.
Steven Adams is a big part of what you do, you have problems. No knock on Steven Adams. I love Steven Adams. He's very good at what he does. But if that's a big part of your identity, that says a lot about you. You don't have too many other ways to you know what I mean, get the job done. You know what I mean? So you have to rely on the enforcer, the grit and grime. And you only go that route because that's the talent level you have. And that's, you know what I mean, that's what fits the you know, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. That's what fits the talent level you have.
Right.
Other than that, everybody would want to run what the Warriors run or what the Kings run, or you know what I mean, what these more high power teams run because they have the firepower to do so. But if you only have one legit shooter, you can't be running off of 18 ball screens, jacking up the shot. You know what I mean? Analytics say your ass is gonna lose. That's what it should say.
Right,
so
right.
It's you know it's a lot of that too, you know.
And Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs score on a crazy play, thinking that they had taken the lead.
No, they didn't.
And offsides. Was this the right call?
It's 100% the right call. It's 100% the right call. And I'm gonna tell you, even Pat Mahomes put his foot in his mouth when he's like, "Oh, well, this is something you practice since high school." Yeah, it is. As a receiver, the ref is not going to tell you. It blows my mind that he said that and he tried to gaslight everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe he feel like there's a new crop of people that are new to football and don't understand. Or I mean, maybe he was talking to the Nickelodeon podcast that they have. I mean, the broadcast with the, you know what I mean, the little kids. I don't know. I don't get it. But we know anybody who's played football on any type of organized level knows it's your job as a receiver to look to the sideline, ask the ref, "Hey, am I good or do I need to back up?" And the ref will let you know, "Hey, you're good," or he'll be like, "Back up just a little bit." Just a little bit, because I used to like to get close because I would like to, you know, with your stock blocking or you know what I mean, you have a certain move you want to, you know, get there and move the wrist out the way and you know and maneuver and get position so you can run your route.
Right.
Certain receivers like to do those things. So some people like to be off the line because they don't like to get touched. Me, I like to be physical, so I want to be right there. So it goes without saying, you have to check and see. And this is not the first time. And the reason I feel like they was like, "Oh, well, this is such a heady play. Kelsey just does this out of nowhere. It's not a design play." I call BS. I feel like my boy Kadarius Toney and Valdez Scantling have let him down so far in the deep ball that they're just going to throw it deep to Kelsey, and then he's going to pitch it short to them and let them do the rest because they don't trust them to catch deep balls. That's what I feel. That was just me personally. That's what I saw. But yeah, outside of was it the right call or not? Yes, because when the shoe was on the other foot, we expected Josh Allen to just take the L. Take the L is a great game. The rules are what they are. They just weren't on your side this time around. Hopefully, if they change overtime, you know what I mean. But he had to abide by the rules, and the rules just so happened to fall to where he took the L. But when the shoe's on the other foot with Patrick Mahomes, he wants to cuss, act like he's gonna fight the ref. Where's the flag? Where's the fine? Like
Right.
that was really
Yeah.
uncalled for somebody who's supposedly be the face of the NFL. Now, had
Right.
that be any other position or any other player, they would condemn them and come. Oh, we understand the passion. And no, he acted like he wanted to fight the referee. Now, if I say
Right.
the referee makes a bad call when he obviously does, then they send a fine and it's public knowledge that, oh, so and so, talk bad about the referee and da 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 da. But when it's Patrick Mahomes, it's forgiven and it's okay. And it's not because I'm a Raiders fan. That was just really uncalled for as somebody who's the face of the league. You see that
Yeah.
they try to protect the refs all the time. Where are they protecting the refs in this one? You know what I mean? And but to answer the question, yes, it was the right call. It is what it is. Tough luck.
Yeah, I agree, man. I hate it. I hate to even ask the question because it's like Super Bowl. Earlier this year, you've had calls that went your way, which is why you won certain games. And then last week, if you were going to complain, that was the week to really complain and do all this because it actually is a judgment call at that point between defensive PI and not to call it. And so this is the one time last week that you actually had an opportunity to be like, you know what, they missed a call. Where this is point blank, period. My man was over the line. And so I don't really get I hate it. It kind of proves a point as a Raiders fan. It's like, yo, this is how they act when they don't get their way. You look like a spoiled child out there having a temper tantrum.
Exactly.
And
At
so
all the calls he gets and all the, you know what I mean? All he has to do is look at the ref and it's like, oh yeah, my bad. You know what I mean? So the one
right.
time you don't get a call and you and even after when they're doing the handshake, oh, that's BS. That's this, that. What do you want Josh Allen to do, bro? Give his dub away? You want me to give the dub back, bro? Is that what we're like? Come on, man. I feel like that was classless to say the least. It really was. For somebody who pretends to be this pristine, like, you know what I mean? And then when he got into it with Max Crosby, oh, you woke up the wrong mother, bro. Just shut up and play football. Because if it really came down to it, Max would give you the hands. Let's not do that. You see what I'm saying? So this fake tough guy, because I know the refs and the rules are gonna protect me. I don't do that, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just play, you know what I mean? Be, I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I don't like him, bro. I do not like him. I'm sorry.
And so my man Zion came up as a part of criticism. His diet is being talked about again. And I don't know, there's a part of me that, like, at some point it just is what it is. But then also I'm starting to notice at the times in which we start talking about it. Because when he's balling and hooping, niggas is not still making jokes about his weight. Or even talking about his weight. It's either once he's hurt or he has a stretch of bad games. Then it's like, oh, well, now his weight is getting talked about. But him coming off of a 36-12 game where they get a victory, we're not even going to talk about his weight at that point. Which leads me to the question, is it a cop-out?
No, I see how it could be. It could seem contradictory. But what's the say? It would be the same. Like, basically, because he's a superior athlete, you should be able to give me those numbers. But because you're cheating yourself on your diet and your nutrition, you're running out of gas and you're not able to give me those performances night in and night out. It's not the same with an AD to where it's like, damn, if AD would just get his diet, then he would be more consistent. It's more of a will thing. But Zion doesn't have a will issue. He goes out there and he wants the game. You know what I mean? People are questioning his integrity, whether he wants to play basketball or anything like that. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying I know from personal experience, you're not going to be able to go out there and perform at a super high level night in and night out if your diet isn't right. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean? To hell with what Ocho Cinco says, saying you can eat McDonald's and you can eat. No, maybe you can. And that's what everybody's trying to say. Maybe you can do that, but not everybody else can do that. So it's just like he has to, if he wants to be consistent, then he does have to get it under control. So I feel like we can't not acknowledge his 35 points, 12 rebounds, we can't not acknowledge those things. But it's like you could be doing this on a more consistent level if you listen to the Shaqs and the Charles Barkley, because what did Shaq say ultimately? Man, if I'd have listened to Kobe and worked out and got my diet, and not only could we have won more of my career and I would have stayed at a longer peak and I would have played, I'd have been actually Shaq longer in my career had I listened to everybody. You see what I'm saying? Now he still had a Hall of Fame career. Don't get me wrong. You know what I mean? But he would have had a long, more enduring career had he listened to people and got his diet under control. And that's all people are trying to say for Zion. Not that you can't be good and that you can't be great, because obviously you can. You've gotten to this point, and we still see you with bursts of amazing games. But if you want to sustain it, play for 10 plus years, be this next face of the league that everybody planned him to be, you're going to have to put them beignets down, bro. Put the gumbo down. It's hey, I know New Orleans, just like Vegas, it's like when it comes to food, it's hard, bro. It's hard. You know what I mean? But you're a professional athlete, not just, somebody who likes basketball.
Facts. And so Eagles get smacked around by the Cowboys and 49ers in 2 consecutive weeks. So, and this is one of the things I hate when we start to have these conversations about, especially when you watch sports media, like Speak, for example. The amount of bias that like certain media members give certain teams is just wild to me. Like, because a team got to a Super Bowl and lost, it's like I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt to get back to the Super Bowl. Who do I trust more? And it's like, you do realize how hard it is to get to a Super Bowl a second time after losing, because there was a string of teams that lost in Super Bowls and it didn't even sniff the playoffs the next year.
Yeah, just recently, both teams started getting back to the playoffs. Right. I think that was just recently, but for a good 10, I would say 15 years, it was almost a guarantee that one of those teams were not going to make the playoffs.
Exactly. And so to ask the question, how much confidence do I have in the Eagles to right the ship? I don't know. At some point, I watched you win ugly. And then you go up against two teams playing at their peak right now, and you get blitzed by both. And so one is a division rival. The other is just a conference rival at this point. I don't know. I just feel like in those games, those are teams that you should at least be in the game. And for Jalen Hurts to not look that good the whole season, but he's getting victories. So then now you go up against two of the top teams in the NFC and you look terrible. Like, not even in the games. And that's the point for me that I don't have that much confidence in them. I already went into the year picking someone else to make it to the Super Bowl in the NFC, but now I don't even know. I don't have much confidence about them making the conference game, let alone a Super Bowl.
I would say I still picked them to get to the playoffs. I'm not sure what the rest of the record looking like, but I did have them dropping these 2 games. So when everybody said the sky is falling and we can write off the Eagles, if you looked at the 3 games leading up to these last 2 games, they were very hard fought, close, nail biting, knockdown, drag out games, which they pulled out. That takes a lot out of you physically and spiritually as a team, with your emotions going up and down, and then week after week after week. And then you get 2 championship contending teams right after that.
Right.
That's just like you working out all day, and then you come home, and then, you know what I mean, and you get a surprise workout on top of that. And it's just like, then after you rest and you get another surprise workout, you're going to be dog tired. So that's why it looked like they didn't even want to be on the field, because they didn't. They're tired. Yeah. They're physically spent. So
Yeah.
I feel like once they get a little mini bye, they play a team that's, you know what I mean, they get that Sunday to Monday or Sunday to next Thursday, one of those type of to where they get a couple of days of rest, and they'll catch their stride going back into the playoffs. Whereas I feel like like you said, the Cowboys are peaking right now.
Yeah.
I feel like if they face Philadelphia a third time in the playoffs, they're not going to win. Or if they face San Francisco in the playoffs again, they're not going to win. They're going to get as far as the divisional round.
Yeah.
And if hopefully they play in the wild card and get a dub, and then you know what I mean, so at least they have a playoff win. Because if not, if it's just a bye and then you're in the divisional, you get bounced out, that's even worse. But that's my
Right.
prediction.
Right.
I feel like Philly's going to be in there. They're going to knock out Dallas. Then they're going to lose to San Francisco. San Francisco is going to then go on to the Super Bowl, and then they're going to face Lamar. So I think, you know, from the NFC perspective, it's everything's right on schedule for what I have, because there's only a handful of teams in NFC anyway.
Right.
So who are the Eagles? Who's going to jump over the Eagles at this point? Nobody really. It's just, are they going to be playing good enough football when the playoffs come? So I feel like they've gotten their bad football out of the way, or they're getting it out of the way now. So when the playoffs comes, whether it's just one or two victories and you limp into the playoffs, you still want to be playing your best football during the playoffs, not right before and not right after, because that means, you know what I mean, nothing.
Right.
So,
Right. I felt that. And so I seen right now there's a viral clip going around of KG and Paul Pierce getting into it about, is LeBron a top 5 player in the league
right now?
And this is the thing that, like, I hate about the clip is nothing that KG get real loud and aggressive about it, but nothing that he's talking about is something that you can say about right now. He's talking about how long he been doing it for, and he's 38 and putting up these numbers, and I'm just like, at some point, it's okay. He was one, if not two, for 15 years. It's all right that he is not a top 5 player anymore. Or arguably, because I do think that, like, when I was thinking about my list earlier, me and Rob were talking about it.
I don't put all of them over Bron. I'm not putting Luka over LeBron James.
I think that right now, as it is, there are certain people that are in the conversation, but I don't personally have them over him.
Yeah, the fact that he's 38 and all of that means nothing to me.
Yeah,
what are the numbers? You know what I mean?
Right,
and then all the other stuff is added on to it. Like, okay, cool, fine. He got 30. Anybody can get 30. But it's a 38-year-old getting 30. You see what I'm saying? Now the 30 is amplified, but you still have to have 30 in order for me to talk about you.
Oh God.
You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm looking at. And then it's just, I don't necessarily trust. I'm just going to use just Luka for an example. I don't really trust his style of play. It's real regular season friendly, because you know the defense isn't going to be that tight. You know people aren't hounding you. You see when Luka gets hounded, all that stuff that he usually do, all that because he gets a lot like Steph. He gets the hot dog.
Yeah.
So whenever he get, you know what I mean? When somebody puts the clamps on him, all of that goes out the window. So I need you to be that same guy when the intensity is at its highest. And we see, no matter what time, and I hate to use the in-season tournament as an example, but Bron's turned up from day one. You see what I'm saying? And I feel like that now here comes the other side of the argument, where if you're going to let someone that old have more competitive fervor than you, then that what, you know what I mean? And then his game all around is better than yours. His stats are damn near identical than yours. Then I'm gonna give it to him. So if you're in the consideration of being around what LeBron is doing, I'm throwing you out of the conversation. You have to be outright head and shoulders above what he's doing for me to say he's better than you. It can't be close, because if it's close, it's a baseball tie with me. Tie goes to the runner. Runner being LeBron James. If it's a tie, it's going to LeBron James. Sorry.
Yeah, and that's why I said like for me, I think once you get to that 5 spot, because I 100% think that Joe, Embiid, SGA, and Giannis are all better than LeBron. And then at that point, that's where I said that 5th spot is where I think that you can argue LeBron, you can argue whether or not you agree with Jason Tatum. I don't like his shot selection in clutch moments, which is why I personally would probably still throw LeBron in at 5. And I don't like Luka on the defensive end. So I just feel like at some point, although LeBron may not give effort at times, he still is a threat on the defensive end, which is why I probably would say yes.
And I was gonna say, what's your favorite defensive Jason Tatum play?
He lock up though.
I at times when it's time to, right? So it's a situational thing. I feel like the same thing with Bron, but
yeah. But I also feel like with the team that Jason Tatum has, it's kind of like he don't necessarily gotta guard the best player because I
was gonna say that.
I'm gonna let JB do that for the most part. And so that's where, like, I don't know. I just don't like when KG got aggressive about it. That was when I was just like, all right, relax, my nigga. Like, because there is an argument that could be had. And then I don't know who the host was where he was like, I'm not taking SGA over LeBron. And I'm like, what? Why not?
I mean, now right now, SGA is my favorite player. He's my favorite player in the league. It used to be LaMelo Ball, now it's SGA. But I could see how someone would be like, well, the only thing that makes him better than LeBron is his athleticism. Because he's younger and more vibrant than LeBron James. If you take LeBron, and you know what I mean, so that's when the age thing becomes. Because had you put LeBron at his peak athleticism and SGA, where I guess you could say he's entering his peak now, then it's like, really, you're gonna pick him over a peak LeBron James? Probably not. No. But that's the revisionist things that we're talking about. But we're talking about right now. Right now, yes, you would have to.
Yeah. Which is why I'm like, LeBron to me is not higher than any higher than 5.
No, you can't. No. Yeah. You can't. But I feel like that's amazing.
I feel like those other 4 are so far and beyond.
Yeah, because of the constant impact on both sides of the ball, like literally from play to play on both sides of the ball, up and down the court, possession. I'm talking about whole sequences, you know what I mean, where they're impacting every single aspect of the ball. So he no longer does that. He used to, but he no longer does that.
Facts. And then what was the last one? So Lakers win the in-season tournament. Does this give you confidence to pick them as a favorite to win the title?
No, it kind of discourages me for real. It's kind of like I feel like we're gonna see once these things have been rolled out for a couple of years. I'm just gonna call this now. I could be totally wrong, but hey, I'm gonna go out on the limb and say it. Whoever wins this tournament is probably gonna get bounced out early in the playoffs. Probably. There's no way you're gonna win the in-season tournament and the championship. I just don't see it, bro. I don't know. I just don't see it. I feel like it's like the Madden curse or the Madden. I just thought it's gonna be like one of those types of things. Like I just don't, I don't know.
I can see that, man, because I think that I've seen the NBA is kind of mulling the idea of making it where you get an automatic playoff berth by winning. And so I think depending on who gets in with that, it could turn into where some team that is not even supposed to be nowhere near the playoffs is going to get in and get waxed.
Yeah. And then even if like, let's say, because the whole fact that, these games or these stats don't count towards you're already handicapping people. Like, you know what I mean? That's weird to me. Like, I just thought that was anytime there's like It's like there it is. That's what I meant to like it too. Like college football, they have like championship games before the championship game. You know what I mean? And that's always
Yeah,
weird because it's like you get hyped for this game and then you win it, and then it's just like, okay, now what? You got to do that all over again, but a week or two later, like that's just, you know what I mean, or a couple months later or whatever. That's just like weird. And we see 9 times out of 10, it usually doesn't bode too well for, you know what I mean, the first champion. It's the one who hasn't won anything type of deal who usually has the, you know, or comes from the lesser conference or lesser champion or, you know, something like that, that it has like the more competitive hunger. But I mean, that's just my little wild prediction. I think they, you know, maybe not, we'll see, but I don't think so.
I think I can definitely see it, but I think that it depends on the matchup. But I think when you look at like the Pacers being the team on the other end, the way that they play defense and their strength, it's all about matchups at the end of the day. And so it's like when you got the Pacers, they run you off the 3-point line really well. But then they play pretty much four guards and Miles Turner. And then right now, Obi Toppin is playing a lot of five because Jalen Smith is out right now. And so that lineup is so small where even though LeBron is not the biggest guy as far as in height, his size and strength matched with AD's size and strength puts them where they have an extreme advantage over the Pacers. And then also with it only being one game, I think that really worked in their benefit as well on both ends, where the Lakers have an opportunity to play real hard for one game, beat this team. And then the Pacers are on a hot streak because if you include the previous four games they won, as well as the games that they won to get to the final, that's a 6 or 7 game win streak. So you get hot in the moment, get you to the in-season tournament championship. It's much harder to get on a hot streak and beat a team when you're playing them 6, 7 times.
And that's what I was saying. You're playing one game eliminations and stuff like it's built for a Laker type team because
Right.
Anthony Davis ain't got to play no back to back. He ain't got to, you know what I mean? It's one and done. You know what I mean? We can get up for one game and get him out of here, or get up for 2 games and get him out of here. Like it's and it gives you like a false confidence. So when you get to there, you're like, oh yeah, we played them in the in season tournament. We did this, and a lot of teams. It's like, yeah, we'll be in it. You know what I mean? To whatever, but it's like they're not invested into it like that. You know what I mean? This is brand new. We don't know we don't know anything about it. So it's just like I feel like it gives them a false confidence, and you know, bubble's gonna be popped when we get to the playoffs, pretty much.
For real. And I think that that's really what it is that one game you're able to hide deficiencies that you can't hide in a 4 to 7 game stretch. And so I think it was built for the team that they currently have, but in the long run, their inability to shoot is what's going to hold them back unless they make a trade. And so with the last time we got left, we're going to do some quick hitters. First off, Bronny made his college debut. He played about 16 minutes from what I saw. Had like 4 points, hit a 3-pointer. I think he had 3 rebounds and 2 assists, something along those lines. And I know he's coming off of a heart injury, I guess you can kind of say. What is Bronny's ceiling to you?
Like you mean like a comp, like a player comp?
To a certain degree. If you had to give one, that would definitely help.
I would say he's more like a Ray Allen, but I don't think he's going to be able to score like that. Like when you think of a prime Ray Allen, he's dropping 35 and not that. He'd
Okay.
probably give you 15 to 20, 8 to 12 assists, probably 3 to 5 rebounds on a good night, 2 steals, like a good solid all-around game, but nothing that's just going to blow your mind out of the water. He's just a good solid all-around basketball player. And without his dad's height and uber athleticism, because that's exactly what LeBron is, all he is a well-rounded basketball player.
Right.
But he's uber athletic and uber, you know what I mean? He's 6'9". So without those gifts, he's going to be maybe a second rounder draft wise, and you know what I mean, be a very, very solid off the bench future starter.
Yeah, me and Rob had this conversation. I believe it was yesterday. It might have even been earlier today. But in my head, I'm like, I just don't see him as a point. And then I feel like his size, unless he gets, because right now I think they list him at 6'3", 6'4". And there's a part of me that just doesn't believe he's that height. But then also, I'm just like, even if he is 6'4", that's a small two guard. And so I think his ability to play defense and effort to play defense, but he's also a different player than LeBron. And so where LeBron has had crazy athleticism, he's walking in day one with a strap. So it's not like he needs to learn how to shoot as he's getting older. And so I feel like he's definitely going to be a different player, which is where I can see the Ray Allen comp without him having the size of Ray Allen, unless he continues to grow. Because like I said, I'll give him 6'3", maybe. But I'm not giving him 6'4". I just don't believe that he's 6'4". Especially like seeing him with other people, seeing him next to his brother, seeing them next to his dad. He just looks so much smaller. So like it's just hard for me to believe that. And so I can definitely see, I think he's gonna be a off ball guard with the ability to shoot and play tough defense. It'll kind of be like a 3-and-D guy, but I think he'll be better with on ball than like a spot up shooter. So like I can definitely see, I can see him being 15 to 20. I would be really surprised if he was able to get to 25. But I do think that based off of his name and his ability to fit in to any team, I feel like he's gonna get opportunities to be able to really make to what they say, carve his teeth in as a starter in the league.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely gonna be a solid player. I just don't think don't expect superstar.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even expect star, just a very solid player. I mean, he might blow us all out of the water and we could be wrong, but I mean,
right. It's just a projection. No disrespect to him in any way, just based off of what I see, that's what I'm gonna guess. And so I seen your boy Mitchell Robinson hurt again, which is where I came up with the topic. How much patience do you give a player that is often injured?
Depending on the talent level,
8 to 10 weeks before they even evaluate.
Yeah, I'm pretty much over it at this point.
He's been hurt like at some point every year.
Yeah, and the last time we had a good shot, he was hurt, and if we would have had Mitch, then I mean, probably would have turned things around. So there's always that. I would say, depending on the talent level, that's gonna, what I mean, sway you right or left, I guess you could say. But I would say this: you give him maybe 2 more years than you would give somebody that's healthy.
Okay.
So if you're, let's say, we're waiting for somebody to make a leap in year 3, but year 2 and year or year 1 and year 3 they're hurt. So now we're going to evaluate you on, we're going to offset those, and we're going to say, okay, year 5 is going to be your year 3. So year 5 in the league, minus the injury years. We're going to compile all your good stuff, you know what I mean, put that together. So year 5, you know what I mean, after 2 healthy years, a year and a half of health, you know what I mean, we should see who you are by that. But I don't want to hear, oh, well, he was hurt a couple years ago. Bro. Either you got it because Joe Burrow got hurt and he still came in the league and was still with Joe Burrow.
Right.
You see, it wasn't like, oh well, he got to find his foot. Like, no, he was Joe Burrow. So I would say and that's just being nice. I would throw 2 extra years on it because they would say let's just use quarterback by example. By that 3rd year in the league, they should be making that leap to show you whether they're a franchise quarterback or not. If they've been hurt, I would say, you know what I mean, throw 2 on it by year 5. So you might have to franchise them. And that's what they ended up with Dak. And it was kind of one of those things weren't really sure. And
right.
you know, whether they're unsure or it's injuries, but yeah, I would say 2 years, 2 extra years tops. That's it. Anything else, you're low key committed.
Yeah. It's just interesting to me because I'm like, I've seen some people. It's like they was balling, then they get hurt. No, you're out. Then I see some people. It's like, bro, they just keep they hurt every year and they just still getting paid.
Yeah, and it's just like, bro, you might as well put the little the little mask, let the Hamburglar be.
Yeah.
You might as well put the little sack and run off. Like, it's crazy.
Speaking of getting the bag, Ohtani, Japanese phenom, signs with the Dodgers, 10 years, $700 million. Should we be pushing our kids to playing baseball?
Only if we can get the bag like this.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say this without saying something else. Not everybody's gonna get that bag for one reason or another. There's a couple factors that goes into him why he got that bag, and he helped them out on the back end as far as, you know, deferring things and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Deferring his money so he can continue to build the team. They actually, and what he did is, I think he worked it in there. It's like, yo, I'm gonna defer my payments, but y'all got to go get my boy out of the out of the Japanese league where he left, and his boy's like big time. So they're gonna give his boy a decent bag too. That's the word on the street. So we'll see if they actually pull the trigger on that. But that's why he saved some money to help out, you know what I mean, other teammates and, you know what I mean, fill it in. But he also got one of his boys that he wanted on the team in Japan. So they might make a move on that. But yeah, the international aspect of it, you know what I mean, the two-way aspect of it, things like that, all that played a part. So if all those factor and it's looking like your kid can, then hey, by all means, go get it. But if he's just a regular star, I mean, baseball is not a good. I mean, it's not a bad option.
Right, and I think
it's not a bad option at all.
One of the reasons why I asked the question, we've had this conversation before. I was like, if you have even a smidgen of athleticism, you should try to play baseball.
Yeah.
And that's where I think that, yes, I think we should, especially us as Black people, should definitely push our kids to playing baseball. Because you don't even have to be the craziest that with the athleticism in order to be head and shoulders above others.
And you can play till like 40-something.
Exactly. And the one thing that we always that never really gets brought up is the money is every dollar of that he is getting, regardless of how he plays. Like, people always talk about NBA when it comes to guaranteed money, but baseball players, those stars that sign those big contracts, and more stars are starting to sign those 10-year deals where Manny Machado signed a 10-year deal. Bryce Harper signed a 10-year deal. Soto signed a long-term deal. So these 10 years getting 70 mil where you push it on the back end, and I'm going to defer it. But then those years, he's not even going to be on that team anymore. But he got it set up to where he's going to be getting paid $68 million.
Yeah, that happened. Even in the NFL, that happens. You know how many players are still getting cashed out by their old teams? They're basically being played. They're being paid not to be on the team, or being paid to stay at home, or whatever the case may be. So we see that in a lot of sports, actually.
And so, yeah, I definitely will push. If I end up having a son, I'm definitely gonna try to push him into the baseball direction. One, because of the talent that I had, and my dad and my great grandfather were really good baseball players as well. So I feel like I never got a shot. But we got to get up out of here, y'all. It was a pleasure. Make sure you go and follow, like, subscribe, comment, share on all those socials on the bottom. And we're out of here. Love, peace, and the Aces 3-peat.